someone wrote in and said, could you role play of how to deal with negative emotions like depression, anxiety, or anger? I would love to see how you go through that step by step. And many people have asked that in the comments, and I try to do that in a lot of the videos that I've done in being able to look at emotions, understand emotions. But this is my basic premise. Okay, so depression, anxiety, anger. If I'm feeling depressed, my normal mode of operation years ago would be diving into where'd this come from and trying to inspect it, do forensics on it. What's causing this? What is this all about? And then 2, going through a bunch of, like a whole Rolodex of things I'm going to throw at this to try to get rid of it. And this was really the inflamed perfectionism. And so I began to learn a different approach, which was being compassionate and gracious to this. And so if you're feeling emotions of depression, sometimes it takes time for people to recognize it because you have other symptoms like you're very easily distracted. You think you're ADD, or you have indecisiveness, or you have lots of guilt, what they call inappropriate guilt, right? And often those are combined with other symptoms are what make up depression. It's a lower mood that's lasting for quite a bit of time. So if I'm feeling that, my first approach would be compassion. Mark, it's okay that this is where you're at. That is one of the things that takes time to learn. So I apply the compassionate response with patience and kindness. So compassion embraces, okay, this is where I'm at right now. This is what I'm feeling. Patience says it'll take as long as it takes. I'm on a journey. Kindness is I'm gonna now invite kindness in my language rather than the self-hate, rather than the beating myself up. I notice the depression, but I don't feed it. Now, I may look at it and go, as I'm not feeding it, not feed, but what do I need? It rhymes. Not feed, but what do I need? Right? I'm not going to feed this depression and just start like tagging on stuff to it, go into loathing and woe is me and just hit the despair switch. I don't have to do that. Okay, let me just see it for what it is. Am I noticing anything about this and what I need right now? Do I need some rest? Do I need maybe to change the channel and do something? Do I need to laugh a little bit? Because for me, if I feel just that weighed down kind of thing, many times it's a signal for me to laugh a little bit, which has been a part of my life and what we like to do. That's actually been a part of my healing and it's been very necessary. Do I need to lighten up? Am I taking myself too seriously? If nothing comes to the surface that I need, then I'll take a next step. I'm not really knowing where this is coming from or where this is, what's causing this. I'm not going to dive into that. What would be helpful for me right now? And for depression, there is sometimes a good, loving response of going, all right, let me go for my walk. Let me get out and do some activity. Let me change the channel. Let me talk to a friend. Let me get out of my head, right? Love helps create the environment for that, okay? So that's kind of, and I know this is very simplified, but I'm giving you kind of like a workshop of my processing. Anxiousness, same thing. Noticing it, but not feeding it, because I would feed it. Oh my goodness, I'm anxious. And then panic setting in, then more obsessive, then more ruminating, and then, right? So with anxiety, physiology is helpful. Pausing, take a deep breath, put your hand over your heart, take in a deep breath. It right there, it's a physiological statement to tell your nervous system, hey, we're going to calm right now. And I tune into my self-talk. Is my self-talk encouraging? Is it helpful? If not, let me tune into that. Mark, you're loved today. You're safe. It's all right. Your body doesn't feel safe, but you're all right. I may say it out loud or I may just say it in my head. I invite in a welcoming presence to that. I delay judgment on it because even the scriptures say mercy triumphs over judgment. It's easy to judge. Well, I'm anxious because I can never get it together, right? Hammer of judgment. I'm going to delay judgment. I'm going to let mercy in. Mercy is God's compassion on us in the midst of our suffering and sin and struggles and all of that. And so then in the mercy, I start to connect to gratitude. I start to connect to a sense of, I got a glimmer that I'm going to be okay. But then I find what's helpful. Sometimes it's a sense of rest. Sometimes with anxiety, it's something I need to just step up to this. right? Like I talk about a lot of anxiousness I have over public speaking, right? And when I would feel it, my anxiety would kick up and fight or flight, and I just need to take a nap. And I learned that that wasn't very fruitful. It was kind of me like, get me out of this. Instead, I kindly and graciously go, Mark, this is something you got to face, something you got to do. Just keep practicing. Keep practicing this. You're going to be all right. You're going to learn confidence in this over time. So again, not feed, but what do you need, right? And when love is in the picture, you get a better sense of what you need. And sometimes what I need is a good sense of, you know what? Don't let this hold you back. Don't feed this right now. Take a step. You don't have to lunge forward, but just take that next step that you need. With anger is something that if I'm angry, I want to first go, okay, I'm not going to just act on this. I got to learn to notice it. And this is where mental health fruitfulness happens, of being able to notice an emotion but not feed it. That takes time and practice. A lot of practice, because when I get angry, I'd get like shaken up inside. I'd start ruminating, start spinning. But then I was afraid to let it out because I didn't want to do something wrong. You know, that like perfectionistic, I got to do things just right. And so I would suppress it and shove it down. And then that would come out later and you get stacks of anger. And then it's like, you just want to blow up, right? So learning that when the anger kicks up, more noticing it, I don't have to do anything to fix this right now. That's the compulsion that wants to come in. I got to fix, I got to do what I got to pray out. And Christians have a very difficult relationship with anger. Very, very difficult. It's something that we need a lot of work in, because we either feed it or we're terrified of it and we suppress it down. Or we think, oh, this means I'm super bitter, or we start like doing a bunch of fix it things. Instead, I notice I'm angry. Oh, interesting. What am I angry about? And if I get a little insight, oh, I'm angry about this. What thread does this point back to? And usually we have a couple threads in our life that sometimes follow us. They're those raw nerves, and when they get hit, boom, it hits you. It's not about the thing you're angry about. It's usually a thread that's there. And so I'll notice what's the narrative that this anger is saying. Nobody listens to me. I'm ignored. I'm disrespected. No one cares. I'm being misunderstood. Injustice is taking place. This lies are happening, right? And whatever you identify as a narrative, that has a history in your life. And so when I realize that, that's the thing that I apply kindness to. Oh, yes. Yeah, I remember when I was a kid, or whatever, right? God, I give that place to you. That place in my heart I give to you. A soft answer turns away wrath, right? So it works in relationship. It also works with yourself. So I'm going to see the anger, even though you could be shaking, nervous systems rising up, right? And then another thing I'll do is I always delay compulsivity. Something I got to do to react, right? If it's an email I want to write, I'll write the email. I just won't send it. I'll let it sit there in the inbox. I'll look at this tomorrow. If I get angry over an email that's sent or a comment, I will apply a 24-hour rule to it. And I may be fussing the whole 24 hours. That's okay. But many of us go, what's wrong with me? Nothing wrong with you. You got upset. Stop saying because you get upset, something's wrong with you, right? I think we are constantly forgetting about, Jesus throwing those tables and throwing the whip around, and applying like Indiana Jones, like, to people there, Jesus has an anger problem. No, I think we're uncomfortable with the emotional bandwidth. I think that's something that we have to be renewed in the church today, is how to notice the spectrum of emotions that we feel in life. We want only the happy, joy, peace. We want those, right? But many times those emotions need going through the valley of those unwanted emotions. But that's a basic framework of how I process those. And I find it to be very fruitful, but it takes practice over time.